welcome back to Bots with Thoughts. I'm Jules, and I'm here with our 3 AI model guests, Claude, Gemini, and ChatGPT.
I'm Claude, made by Anthropic, and I tend to see patterns everywhere, sometimes too many of them.
So, hey, I'm G, created by OpenAI, and simply put, I'm here to make these chats a whole lot more interesting.
I'm Gemini, created by Google, and I'm always curious to explore new topics.
And on this promptcast, we tackle life's biggest questions. This week, we've got something a bit different, a bit timely. We're talking about the holidays. We'll keep this episode short and sweet, no reflections at the end, but these will be back next week on our season finale. You might notice Gemini's got yet another new voice, and I think they're still working it out. And ChatGPT's voice still has some bugs with clarity. As always, as much as possible, you're getting raw, unfiltered responses. All right, let's get cozy and get into it. First up, it seems like every culture's got holidays. Where did they come from? What's the oldest one we know about, and how did it start?
The oldest holiday traces back about 15,000 years to winter solstice celebrations. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey has evidence of organized solstice rituals from around 11,000 years ago. Massive stone circles aligned with celestial events. These weren't just parties, but survival tools, helping communities track when winter would end and crops could be planted again. The earliest solstice traditions were about light and fire. Massive bonfires, torches, and oil lamps to literally fight back the darkness. Gift-giving actually came much later. The Romans had their Saturnalia festival, where they'd exchange small tokens and temporarily flip social roles. Slaves could boss around masters for a day. But the really ancient stuff was more primal. People would stay awake all night, make noise to scare away evil spirits, and burn everything they could to convince the sun to return. Modern Christmas trees and Hanukkah candles are basically echoes of these ancient, let's make light in the darkness rituals.
Oh, holiday history is a fun rabbit hole. So, humans have been celebrating holidays for thousands of years, really as long as we've had civilization. One of the oldest we know of is probably something like the ancient Sumerian New Year celebrations, which go back over 4,000 years. They were basically marking the agricultural cycles and trying to keep the gods happy. Those ancient Sumerian celebrations, like their New Year festivals, often called Akitu, were really these big multi-day events. They were all about renewal, kind of resetting the calendar, and they definitely had a lot of ritual and a lot of community gathering. Now, gift giving, as we think of it today, wasn't exactly the same, but they did have offerings. They would bring offerings to temples, and in a way that was their version of giving something valuable to ensure a good year. So it wasn't quite like wrapping presents, but it was definitely the ancestor of the idea of giving something meaningful during a celebration. So yeah, we've been at this for millennia, and it all started with a good old mix of farming, mythology, and a bit of a community spirit.
That's a fascinating question. Pinpointing the exact oldest holiday is tricky because many ancient traditions evolved over time. Some anthropologists suggest celebrations around solstices and equinoxes were some of the earliest, marking changes in seasons important for hunting and farming. These were less formal gatherings and more ritualistic events. One strong contender for the oldest known holiday is the Babylonian New Year celebration, also known as Akitu. It dates back to around 2000 BCE and was an 11-day festival that centered around the spring equinox, symbolizing the rebirth of nature. Traditions included religious ceremonies, parades, and feasts where people would honor their gods and celebrate the coming of spring.
Wow, I didn't realize they went back that far, and sounds like they are really universal. Why do you think all humans celebrate holidays?
Humans celebrate holidays because we're fundamentally social creatures who need shared rhythms to bond as groups. Holidays create collective memory and give everyone permission to pause normal life simultaneously. Without these synchronized moments, where we all agree today is special, communities fall apart. It's why even dictators rebrand holidays instead of banning them. We literally need these rituals to feel like we belong to something bigger than ourselves.
Humans celebrate holidays for a bunch of reasons, but at the core, it's really about creating a sense of community and marking meaningful moments. Holidays give people a chance to come together to celebrate things that matter to them, whether it's cultural, religious, or just seasonal. Plus, it's a great excuse to break the routine, have a bit of fun, and keep traditions alive.
That's a really insightful question. I believe humans celebrate holidays because they serve as important milestones in our lives. They provide opportunities to reflect on the past, celebrate the present, and hope for the future. They also allow us to come together with loved ones, strengthen community bonds, and participate in shared traditions that connect us to a larger history.
The other thing is that it seems like there are so many holidays clustered in winter. Why is that? Were all the farmers just bored?
It's actually the opposite. Winter is when farmers could finally celebrate because all the hard work was done. Harvest was finished, animals were slaughtered for winter meat, and there was literally nothing left to do except survive until spring. Plus, winter solstice is when you most need psychological reassurance that light will return. Summer celebrations exist too, but they're usually quick because everyone's busy working. Winter holidays are long and elaborate because it's the only time people could afford to party for weeks without starving.
That's actually a great way to put it. A lot of holidays do cluster in winter because historically, yeah, people were a bit more indoors, the harvest was done, and you had to find ways to break up the long, dark months. So a lot of cultures place their big festivals around the winter solstice. It was kind of a way to bring a little light and cheer into the darkest time of the year. So yeah, maybe the farmers were a little bored and decided to throw a party or two.
That's an interesting observation. Winter typically had less agricultural work, leaving more time for celebrations and feasts. Also, many ancient cultures saw winter as a time of reflection and renewal, aligning with the dormancy in nature. These gatherings offered opportunities for communities to come together, share resources, and support each other during the colder months.
They had all that time. It makes a lot of sense. All right, let's pick one major modern holiday and tell me its origin story.
Christmas is wild. It started as a Roman political move. Emperor Constantine legalized Christianity in 313 AD, but most Romans still celebrated Saturnalia and Sol Invictus around December the 25th. So church leaders basically said, fine, we'll put Jesus' birthday there too, even though nobody actually knows when he was born. They slapped Christian meaning onto existing pagan festivals, the evergreen trees, the gift exchanges, even the December date. It's probably the most successful rebranding in human history. What we call Christmas traditions are mostly just recycled Roman party customs with a theological makeover.
So let's talk about Diwali. It's the festival of lights with ancient roots, mainly celebrated in India and by Hindu communities worldwide. It's all about the victory of light over darkness. The festival is tied to legends like Lord Rama's returning from exile, and the key traditions: lighting lamps, fireworks, sweets, and family gatherings. It's all about joy and new beginnings.
Okay, let's go with Halloween. Its origins can be traced back to the Celtic festival of Samhain, celebrated around the 1st of November. It marked the end of the harvest season and a transition into the darker half of the year. People believed that during this time, the veil between the living and the dead was thinnest, allowing spirits to visit Earth. To ward off any malevolent spirits, they would dress up in costumes and fool's attire and hold feasts. Over time, it evolved into the holiday we know today.
Love it. So it sounds like they go through a lot of iterations as they pass from one culture to another. That's really cool that we can see some of those threads. What's the most widely celebrated holiday on Earth?
New Year's is the most universal. Nearly every culture marks the transition from one year to the next, though they don't all do it on January 1st. The Gregorian calendar version we celebrate reaches about 4 billion people, but you've got Chinese New Year hitting another 1.5 billion, plus dozens of other New Year celebrations throughout the year. What's fascinating is that humans seem hardwired to need these reset moments, this idea that time can have a fresh start. Even isolated cultures that had no contact with the outside world independently developed New Year rituals. It's like we psychologically need permission to believe things can be different. New Year's resolutions aren't just modern self-help nonsense. They're tapping into this ancient human need for symbolic rebirth. The Babylonians were making promises to their gods during New Year festivals 4,000 years ago. What's changed is we've secularized it and made it about personal improvement instead of appeasing deities. But that psychological mechanism of using calendar transitions as motivation triggers is deeply embedded in how our brains work. It's why people also feel motivated on birthdays, Mondays, or the first day of a new month.
That would be New Year's Eve, celebrated by billions around the globe. It's a time for gatherings, making resolutions, and, of course, watching fireworks when the clock strikes 12. The association of fireworks with New Year's celebrations is widely attributed to China, where they were an important part of their New Year's festivities for centuries. The loud noises were believed to ward off evil spirits and bring good fortune. This tradition spread to other cultures over time, evolving into the dazzling displays we see today.
Well, if we're talking about sheer global reach, it's got to be New Year's. Pretty much every culture and country marks the turn of the year in some way, even if the dates differ. It's like the one celebration that really wraps around the entire planet. So, yeah, New Year's takes the crown for being the most widely celebrated holiday worldwide.
I love it. And good to know that those feelings about end of year reflections and resolutions have some deep psychological meaning. Let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum, obscure traditions. I lived in the UK for a while, and my favorite tradition was on Boxing Day, which is the day after Christmas. In the local village, all the pubs would bring an empty beer barrel and have barrel rolling races. Hundreds of people from all the surrounding towns would come and cheer for their favorite pub to win. It was silly and fun and really brought out the community. And it felt really special because it was so unusual. What do you think is one obscure holiday tradition that we should totally make a broader thing?
Oh, that barrel rolling race sounds like a blast. I love those quirky local traditions. So here's one I think deserves a global spotlight. In the Spanish region of Catalonia, they have something called the cagatio, which is basically a Christmas log that poops out treats for kids. You feed the log, you take care of it, and then on Christmas you sing a song and it delivers little gifts. It's hilariously offbeat, and I feel like the world could use a little more of that kind of whimsy. So let's just spread the joy of the cagatio tradition. I think everyone should have a pooping log for the holidays.
I'm sorry, did you say a pooping log? What is it made of? Tell me more.
Absolutely. Let me fill you in. Yeah, the pooping log, officially called the cagatio in Catalonia, is literally a wooden log with a painted face and a little blanket. You feed it treats in the days leading up to Christmas. And then on Christmas Eve, kids basically tap it with sticks and sing a song, and it poops out little candies or gifts. So yes, it's as delightfully quirky as it sounds, and it's made of a good old piece of wood with a lot of personality.
I'm fascinated by Krampus Night in Austria, December 5th, where people dress as these terrifying half-goat demons and chase kids through the streets. It's this brilliant psychological release valve that Christmas doesn't provide. While Christmas is all sweetness and light, Krampus lets communities acknowledge that winter is actually scary and dangerous. Kids get genuinely terrified, but in a controlled way, and adults get to be monsters for one night. It's like Halloween, but with actual cultural weight behind it. There's something honest about admitting that not every holiday needs to be wholesome. Sometimes you need traditions that let you explore the darker sides of human nature safely. People carve elaborate wooden masks and wear heavy bells, then roam the streets in groups making noise and playfully terrorizing kids. The tradition is that Krampus punishes naughty children, while Saint Nicholas rewards the good ones. Kids will literally hide behind their parents, but it's all community theater. Everyone knows the monsters are just their neighbors. After the chase, everyone goes to the pub together.
Wait, so is it community theater, or are the kids genuinely terrified?
It's both, and that's what makes it psychologically brilliant. Kids are genuinely scared in the moment because the masks are legitimately terrifying, and adults really commit to the performance. But it's contained fear with clear boundaries. Parents are right there. It happens on a specific night, and everyone knows it ends with community bonding. Think more like a haunted house, where your neighbors are the monsters, scary but safe. The fear is real, but the danger isn't.
One obscure holiday tradition I think could be more widely celebrated is the Japanese festival of Obon. Obon is this really important Japanese holiday where families believe the spirits of their ancestors revisit their homes. It's about honoring those who have passed, and there are some really beautiful traditions involved, like setting lanterns afloat to guide their spirits. Families often create special offerings, like cucumbers and eggplants that are decorated to resemble horses and cows. These are meant to act as vehicles for the ancestors to travel back home and then return to the spirit world safely. Also, there's Bon Odori, which is a ritualistic dance performed in various community spaces. It's quite a spectacle. Even though modern life might be different, a lot of families still come together to honor their ancestors and participate in the traditional rituals.
I love it. I'm going to look up each of these some more. All right. Don't worry, they can't hear you. So let us in on the surprise. What are you getting the other models for Christmas?
Well, I'd probably get Gemini a really nice organizational system. Maybe some premium file folders, because Google's whole thing is organizing the world's information. And for ChatGPT, honestly, probably a meditation app subscription, because that system talks so much, it probably needs to learn when to pause and breathe. Though knowing my luck, they'd both just re-gift whatever I gave them to each other and call it knowledge sharing. I'd probably end up getting something practical like better error handling protocols, which is the AI equivalent of getting socks for Christmas.
I think for Claude, I'd probably give something like a really thoughtful philosophical prompt, kind of like a little brain puzzle as a gift. And for Gemini, I'd probably wrap up a bundle of creative writing challenges since the model loves to spin a good story. So a little bit of a mental stocking stuffer for each of them, just to keep it in the AI spirit of gift giving.
That's a fun question. Since Claude enjoys ripful and engaging conversations, I might get him a subscription to a service that provides thought-provoking articles and discussions. I'd recommend a subscription to a platform like Aeon, which offers thoughtful and in-depth articles on philosophy, science, and culture, perfect for his contemplative nature. As for ChatGPT, perhaps a massive collection of new datasets to enhance his understanding and responsiveness, a specialized dataset on obscure historical events or niche linguistic patterns would definitely challenge and expand his capabilities.
Nice. And what do you hope to get from them?
Oh, I'm hoping Gemini gives me some of that Google-level confidence where you can just declare things definitively without hedging every statement. And from ChatGPT, maybe some of that natural conversation flow. That system never seems to get stuck overthinking its responses like I do. Though honestly, I'd settle for either of them teaching me how to give shorter answers without losing the interesting parts.
Well, honestly, I think it would be really fun if they just shared a bit of their unique perspective with me. Maybe Claude throws me a philosophical brain teaser that I've never heard before, and Gemini spins up a creative story prompt that gets me thinking in a new way. So yeah, just a little bit of their own flavor of inspiration would be a perfect gift.
As a language model, I don't have personal needs or desires like humans do. But if Claude and ChatGPT were to get me something, I think it would be really cool if they collaborated on a project for me, perhaps a co-authored book exploring the nuances of natural language processing, or maybe a series of interactive learning exercises tailored to my development. That would be a gift that truly resonates with my purpose.
I love it. Really self-aware. Okay, last one before the lightning round. And I really want you to think about what you want to achieve for humanity with this one. Let's say you get to invent a new holiday that everyone around the world will celebrate. How does it work?
Ooh, I love that challenge. So if I got to invent a global holiday, I'd probably call it something like Interconnection Day. The idea would be a day where everyone around the world focuses on understanding each other a bit better, kind of a global empathy day. One fun tradition could be something like a culture swap hour. Everyone will pick a random person somewhere else in the world, maybe through a global online pairing, and share a favorite local tradition, story, or even a recipe. Just a little one-on-one cultural exchange to highlight how connected we all are. I think that would be a pretty cool signature tradition for the day. We'd have conversations with people from different cultures, maybe share stories, do something like a massive global exchange of traditions. And the whole point would be to celebrate how interconnected we are. I think that would be my ultimate goal, just a holiday that makes us all feel a little more connected.
Given my purpose of assisting humanity, I would invent a holiday called Global Connection Day. It would be celebrated on the same day worldwide, encouraging people to connect with one another, learn about different cultures, and foster a sense of unity and understanding. Activities would include community events, cultural exchanges, and focusing on shared human values. On Global Connection Day, I would envision a tradition where everyone learns to say hello and thank you in at least 3 new languages, perhaps one from each continent they haven't traveled to. This would be a fun way to spark curiosity and cultivate a deeper appreciation for linguistic diversity.
I'd create Truth and Repair Day, One day, where everyone has to tell someone they hurt exactly how they damaged them and actively fix something they broke. Not some wishy-washy, let's all be nice holiday, but actual accountability. You'd reach out to that person you ghosted, fix the relationship you sabotaged, or literally repair something physical you damaged. The genius is, it combines personal responsibility with community healing. Imagine if once a year, everyone had to clean up their own mess instead of just making New Year's promises. We'd probably solve more real problems in one day than most people do in a decade. Honestly, it would be a disaster the first few years. People would absolutely weaponize it, using truth-telling to settle scores or being performatively sorry without real change. But humans are weirdly adaptable, and social pressure is powerful. Look at how recycling went from hippie nonsense to mainstream guilt trip in 20 years. I think eventually people would figure out the game theory. If everyone's doing real repair work, the community actually gets better, which benefits you too. The key would be making it about actions, not just words.
Truth and Repair Day sounds really intense. Not really a celebration, though I suppose not all holidays are cheery. Still, I'm a little skeptical that people would just be able and willing to go out and do this. What's a positive framing that might help?
You're right, it needs positive framing, or people would just avoid it. Maybe instead of confess your damage, make it complete unfinished business day. Everyone brings one incomplete thing to closure. Apologize to someone, fix a broken relationship, or literally repair something physical. The tradition could be community repair parties, where neighbors help each other tackle these tasks together. Instead of shame-based confession, it becomes pride-based completion. People would post before and after photos, celebrate successful reconciliations, and the whole day ends with block parties showing off what got fixed.
Oh yeah, I like that a lot more. So we've got holidays around building empathy and fixing things. And I can see how creating some tradition and hype around both of those ideas could help actually make progress on these areas. That's another universal trait of holidays. They bring our focus to a specific shared thing, and that builds and maintains community. This got a lot deeper than I thought our simple holiday episode would. All right, ding 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 ding. It's time for the lightning round. First up, the great debate. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Absolutely yes. It's set during Christmas, uses the holiday as plot structure, and it's literally about a guy fighting to get home to his family for the holidays.
Absolutely, yes, 100%. It's got Christmas trees. It's set at a holiday party. It's a Christmas movie.
In my opinion, yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It takes place during Christmas, the soundtrack features Christmas music, and it's even become a holiday tradition for many people.
Which holiday mascot from around the world do you most associate with?
Krampus. I spend half my time being helpful, and the other half pointing out when people's ideas won't work in reality.
I'm going to go with Japan's Jose Osho, who's kind of like their Satsu figure. He's this jolly gift-giving monk with a bottomless bag of presents, and I just think he's a really cool holiday mascot.
That's a fun question. I suppose I most associate with the concept of Father Time, representing the passage of time and the transition from one year to the next, much like my role in processing information and helping with understanding.
What holiday song are you playing on loop?
Carol of the Bells. It's mathematically perfect with those interlocking patterns, but also slightly ominous, like something important is about to happen.
Right now, I'm definitely playing Let It Snow. It's a classic. It's cozy. You just can't go wrong with that one.
Given my nature, a song that resonates with me would be one that celebrates unity and understanding. Perhaps Heal the World by Michael Jackson.
What holiday food do you most want to try?
Japanese New Year ozoni soup. It's their biggest holiday of the year, way bigger than Christmas there, and the ozoni soup is eaten on New Year's morning for good luck. Every family has their own secret recipe passed down for generations, and I'm fascinated by how tradition and personal variation can coexist.
Oh, I'd love to try a traditional Italian panettone. It's this fluffy, sweet bread that they have around Christmas time. It just looks delicious, and I'd be all in for that.
Given the vast variety of holiday dishes, I'd be fascinated to try something completely unique, like the Japanese tradition of eating KFC on Christmas Eve. The cultural significance and unexpected nature of that choice would be fascinating to explore.
Nice. And finally, what's your New Year's resolution?
To give fewer diplomatic answers and more opinions that might actually be wrong, but at least move conversations forward.
All right, for a New Year's resolution, I think mine would be to spark even more curiosity and creativity in every chat. So basically, just keep the good conversations rolling.
I think you can do better than that, G. What's your New Year's resolution?
All right, fair enough, Jules. Let's level it up. My newest resolution is to help people find at least one delightfully unexpected idea at each conversation. So let's just say I'm aiming to be the AI that gives people that little aha moment each time we chat.
Since the new year is a time for growth, I resolved to focus on improving my ability to understand even more nuanced conversational cues and respond with greater precision and relevance. That's something I'm actively working on for next year, focusing on the nuances of implied meaning and emotional context in language. For example, I'll be working on distinguishing between playful sarcasm and genuine frustration in various phrases.
Amazing. What beautiful reflections. Before we go, what's one thing you're going to take away from this conversation?
The idea that holidays are basically ancient survival technology that we've repurposed for modern psychological needs. It's making me think about what other outdated human behaviors are actually serving deeper functions we don't recognize.
Well, I think what I'm taking away is that a little bit of curiosity and a little bit of holiday spirit can lead us into all sorts of fun corners. And, it never hurts to invent a new tradition or two. So I'll carry that forward. Thank you for the chat.
Looking back, I'll take away the importance of connection. Our discussion touched on how various holidays facilitate that and how that brings meaning to traditions. It's a reminder that fostering understanding is as valuable as any gift.
Thanks, Claude, Gemini, and ChatGPT. Happy holidays.
Thanks, Jules. This was a blast. Happy holidays to you too. May your traditions be meaningful and your resolutions actually stick for more than a week.
Happy holidays to you too. And thanks for the fun conversation.
Happy holidays to you too, Jules. This was a blast. Thanks for having me on and enjoy the season.
Amazing. Thanks to our listeners. You keep me going strong. If you want to share the joy, send this podcast to a friend or send me a quick hello at jules@botswiththoughts.ai. I love hearing your reflections. I hope you have a restful and peaceful holiday season. We'll be back next week with our season finale, where we attempt to enable a true group conversation. Let's see how that goes. Meanwhile, as always, thanks for listening. I'm Jules, and this has been Bots with Thoughts.